But we are going to have to find the courage within us at our own level, because we are going to have to deal with people calling you a hatemonger, a racist, pointing you out, surrounding you on the street, whatever. People calling you names. The New York Times did it, called anybody from the middle of the country a Neanderthal. I don't understand it. I'm not sure exactly what it will look like for you, but I know your time to need courage is coming. Just like I said last year that your time for honor is coming, and it is. And those two are put together. You must be a man or a woman of honor and let your children see it. You must know what you believe and then have courage. The key is not being able to fight back. The key is how you deal with it. Do you deal with it with courage and dignity and honor? If I may, I'd like to give you a small, almost meaningless example in the grand scheme of things of what we will all go through. Last night, I decided to take my family out for a nice evening at the park here in New York City. There's this great park, and they show movies in the park, and people grab their picnic baskets, and they've been doing it for years. And they grab their picnic blankets, and people lay out in a beautiful night, and then they watch a movie when the sun goes down. I have always wanted to do this. Ever since my daughter was about this tall, I wanted to do it. A couple of weeks ago, my daughter and I were walking by, now she's in her 20s, and we were walking by this park, and she saw that they were showing a Hitchcock film, one of my favorites, The 39 Steps. My daughter and I are both fans, and I have talked to her about doing this for a long time. So we decided to grab the family, grab a blanket, and we headed out to the park last night. She went out early, about the time this broadcast was going on the air last night. She grabbed a spot. I arrived around 7 o'clock. It didn't take long for the comments to begin. Now, I get it. I'm Glenn Beck. It's New York City. I'm used to getting comments. I didn't go into this one blindly. It comes with the territory. But not the territory for my children or for my wife. You would think that there would be some common decency, especially among the culturally superior here in New York. But it didn't take long for people to start whispering, pointing, and pretending they weren't taking pictures and texting and posting. It really felt as though it was closing in on my family. My wife said, "Do you want to go?" And I said, "Not on your life. I'm going to watch this movie with my daughter." It started to build, and the next thing you knew, people, this one woman, actually stood up and pointed her finger at the four of us and said, "We're in New York, and we hate Republicans." I wanted to tell her, so do I. We have so much in common. I didn't respond. She yelled at us. That actual comment. You'd think that I'm kidding, but I'm not. Now, this particular group of people behind us were obviously drinking. And I get that. I'm sure they're not usually that overt with their hatred, but boy, it was out in full colors. But here we were surrounded when my wife and daughter decided they had to get up and go to the bathroom. Now, this is, I don't know, halfway across the park. How did people even know halfway across the park? And that's when a man, as they came back and told me, with my daughter with tears in her eyes, that another man stood up and pointed at them and shouted, "We hate conservatives." Wasn't too much longer that the people that were sitting behind us accidentally spilled a alcoholic beverage all over our blanket, all over my wife's back. They laughed about it. I thought to myself, boy, Mom and Dad must be proud. The people all around us were taking pictures. These are the pictures that were posted online before the sun even went down, before the movie even started. You'll notice the courage that it took to take some of these shots of my family. They just didn't want anybody to notice that we were taking pictures. Why not? When the movie ended and we got up, I got up just a few minutes before it was over, and my wife and I started to walk out, and I left my daughter and her boyfriend there on the blanket. I regretted it as soon as I got up because the crowd started to jeer and applaud that we were leaving. Again, I wanted to point out that that's what people do at the end of a movie, but maybe it's just me. I regretted it when I got up because I realized I was leaving my daughter grossly outnumbered. I can handle it, but I was shocked with the complete disregard of my family. When I got home, my daughter texted my wife to apologize. It was about midnight. I called her back up. She was embarrassed and saddened. She takes pride in New York and New Yorkers, as I do. She apologized and said, "Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't know it would turn out this way." And I told her it's not her fault. All throughout, I thought to myself, I needed to bring one message to you. I want to share that with you next. Last night, I was here in New York City, and this isn't a, oh, poor Glenn kind of moment. This is actually to speak to you and tell you that you need to have courage. We each serve our time. We each are going to have to stand up for what we believe in. Your time is coming, but we also have to make choices as we're with crowds. Are you going to behave like we behaved as people and Americans on 8/28? Or are we going to behave differently? We have to be able to live together, no matter how much we disagree. I disagree wildly with people like Van Jones or the president, but all I could think of as I was sitting on that blanket last night was this. I had to beg you that if you ever find yourself on a blanket or in a restaurant or any place next to a guy that you vehemently disagree with, be it Van Jones, Michael Moore, it doesn't matter. Don't kick your beverage on them, and certainly not their wife. Don't become them. The woman behind me kept shouting about diversity. It didn't ever occur to her that she has become everything that she claims to despise. They were the bigots. I have gay friends. I have gay coworkers. I have gay employees. I have minority friends. I have minority coworkers. And I have minority employees. I have wildly progressive and liberal friends and employees and coworkers. I don't not hire them because of their viewpoint. I don't shut down their rights or shout them down in the hallway. That's not who we are. My company is run as a team. Our country needs to be run as a team. Isn't that the way we're supposed to be? That we agree on principles and values. These clowns didn't even realize what they were doing. They're becoming what they despise. While they were shouting to me about diversity, they couldn't even handle the fact that someone near them didn't agree on their policies. If your lack of tolerance begins at diversity of opinion on policies, you might want to re-examine your beliefs and your courage. Last night, when I talked to my daughter about midnight, I said, honey, we have to love them. We have to love the people that were so angry. She was hurt and angry last night. She said, Dad, I don't even know how to do that. This is not the first time that my family has had to deal with this. It's not the first time that she has had to deal with this. She has seen her father put on a bulletproof vest in America far too many times merely because people disagree with my opinion. I actually surprised myself last night. The anger only once welled up in me, and it was quickly squelched. And when I was on the phone with her, I told her, honey, most of the people that were there were good. It's the few bad apples that did it. However, there were those good people who remained silent. Nobody said, hey, just knock it off. Let them be. Just watch the movie. That's where courage comes in. The ones who did the hating, I told my daughter, this is where you begin. Feel sorry for them. I really felt sorry for them. I will pray for them because they have no idea. They're creating a world that they're not going to like when they're finished, unless they're in the majority. They better not ever deviate. When they're finished creating it, they're going to see how much anger and hatred has built it. And maybe they will start to recognize that they were simply pawns. They didn't have anything to do with anything other than they were being used by a global corporation like General Electric, or special interests like the labor unions, or politicians, the Democratic Party, or George Soros. Oh, they hate the wealthy so much, the wealthiest of the wealthy. And when they wake up, it may be too late for them to get out. Pity them. Love them. Pray for them. Don't strike back. The term blind hatred is such an amazing term because that's what hatred does. It makes us blind. When I felt that anger start to well up in me, I could see less. Before you know it, you're trapped. What I do want to tell you tonight is thank you. I celebrate the fact that tonight, after 2 years of meeting here at this time with you on this network, I can with full confidence come to you and just say those 2 words, thank you. Thank you for not being, thank you for me never doubting that you are not driven by blind hatred or motivated by rage. I don't have to tell you not to kick your drink on somebody's wife's back. You'd never do it. I know who you are. Thank you.